Welcome to REIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of REIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is banks. Establishing a relationship with a bank is so important to grow your business. It's much wiser to go with a small local bank, for there is a lot more flexibility. When you work with these smaller local banks, you can develop better relationships because you are dealing with the same folks every time. Because they are familiar with your finances and want to build their base of local clients, you have a greater potential to be approved for business loans or lines of credit, receive competitive refinancing terms, and more. So, when you pass go and collect $200, make sure you deposit it with a trusted banking partner. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us Stephaine Betters. Stephaine is the co-founder of Better Path Homes, a single-family residential wholesaling and new build company in Charlotte, North Carolina. She is also the founder of Left Main, a CRM for real estate investors via a partnership with Salesforce, and the founder of Social Media REI, a Facebook marketing company specializing in finding motivated sellers. She recently retired as a cardiothoracic surgery nurse practitioner. She believes that her background in medicine has been the key to her success in the business arena. Everything boils down to taking care of people and helping to solve their problems. And this is Stephaine's favorite thing to do. It is my pleasure to have her on the show. So welcome, Stephaine.
Hi.
Finally. You know, I first saw you on stage. We were at a conference. Our good friend, Terry Thayer, he has a retreat, shall we say. It was in Jamaica. And I saw you on stage and you were just crazy fabulous. What I really like about you, because I'm a former school teacher, you are a very good educator. So I have been looking forward to this interview. And hello, thoracic surgery nurse practitioner. Oh my, what do you not do? This is crazy. So anyway, give us a little bit more about your background. I had no idea you're my same state. I'm like, why are we not best friends, Stephaine?
I don't know. I think it's going to happen right now, though. We have a lot in common.
So I like that you said that you hold hearts in your hand and tubes. You stick tubes in hearts and stuff. So tell us all about that.
Sticking tubes in people is probably one of my favorite things to do.
I'm getting a tube stuck in me on Wednesday, by the way. I'm having my first colonoscopy.
Oh, lovely.
Yay.
So cleansing.
So nice. Welcome to the being 50. Okay, great. Not yet, but in a couple months. Anyway, go ahead. Let's hear about that.
I'm glad you're doing your screening test.
Thank you. Yes. So looking forward to it. Okay, go ahead.
So I went to undergrad to be a nurse. I met my husband there in undergrad, fell madly in love, got married right away, and then started working as a nurse in ICU. And I was like, shoot, I should have gone to med school. As soon as I started working, I was like, I am obsessed with the why and medicine and pathology and pathophysiology. I loved it all. And the delivery of care is extraordinarily important, but I was like, oh my gosh, I want to nerd out over all the algorithms and studies. So at the point in my life, I was like, well, I don't want to go back to med school because I'm really excited that I'm a newlywed and I want to have babies. And I kind of found myself at a crossroads. So I decided to go back to nurse practitioner school. And so I worked as a nurse for 5 years and then graduated NP school. And during training, I got to see my very first heart surgery operation. And it was mind blowing and life changing. I was dating my husband at the time. And so I remember coming home and being like, this is my dream. This is all I want to do. This was amazing. I cannot believe, modern medicine. And I can't believe what we just did. And the person woke up and they were just thirsty. That was the first thing they said is I'm thirsty, and I was like, wow, this is what I want to do the rest of my life. So, we graduated out of grad school. We chose Charlotte, North Carolina. I was living, we went to grad school at Stony Brook University on Long Island. And we chose Charlotte specifically for the real estate market because we had flipped a house at that point. Our first house that we bought together was a flip that we lived in. And we loved the Charlotte market. We loved the weather. We loved that there was an international airport right there. Our parents were willing to move down here. Great careers in medicine down here. My husband's a physician assistant. I got my dream job about a year after we moved down here. And that was kind of it for me. I was like, this is great. I can do this the rest of my life. Really,
right.
Quite amazing. But I will say there was a part of me that was like, okay, I had 3 children. All of a sudden, I have 3 children and I have the dream job and I'm like 28 years old. I was like, really? What do I do now? And I almost hated that I felt that way. Because I was like, why can't I just be satisfied? Like I've worked so hard for this and here I am. And that was kind of my first exposure to like lifelong goals and trying to get out of the sprint and trying to get out of like lifetime growth. And I felt very compelled to continue to grow and to continue to learn. Of course, maintain, which, especially at a high level, it takes a lot of effort to maintain. Right. And maintain what you've earned. So, my husband at that time was like, let's flip more houses, and what we did, it was just kind of like a long-term plan at that point. I was never going to leave medicine. I was just going to just buy some rentals. We'll flip some houses and then have the money to buy more rentals. And that was our long-term retirement plan, kid wedding plan, et cetera. And then we all kind of fell in love with it, of the business of running it and the business of building business. And eventually, very long story short, we got to a crossing roads where, our ROI was 10 times greater outside of medicine. We were able to pay off all of our bills from real estate and then my husband was like, I'm good to leave. He was working in urgent care. He loved it, but it was like, I'd rather have time. Right. I struggled quite a bit with my own identity and my passion for medicine, which is still very, very strong. And I recently decided I have to choose time. It's not necessarily about money or security. It's mostly just about time. And I only have so much and my children are growing. And I am very blessed to have this choice of, being able to architect what I want out of life and what I want to do with my time and choose. I can work from any country in the world at this point. I'll still work, but I can choose these things. So very painfully came to that decision last year and retired from my dream job.
Oh my goodness.
And it was very emotional, very big moment, very proud to have been able to do it. But I decided I'm going to do that for 10 years, 5 to 10 years. I'll negotiate it. I'm going to definitely not go back for at least 5 because then my oldest will be in college in 5 years, which is just freaking nuts to say. And then my youngest will be in college in 10 years. So I'm like, I have such a finite period of time in this zone and I'm blessed with this choice. So now I just do business stuff. I do our real estate company with the software company. The software company actually recently acquired my marketing company. So it's kind of one arm now. And that is where I spend most of my time. And it's amazing. It's super challenging. I will venture to say that growing business is scarier and harder than heart surgery.
Oh my gosh.
Believe it or not.
That is mind blowing.
Yeah. But that's kind of where I'm at now. With quick background.
Well, that's such a great message because you can make money, lose money, make money. You can always get it back. You can't get back time. And having those years with your kids and before they go off to college, because man, college age kids, you are old if they're getting, just kidding.
I'm old. I'm old now. I sleep wrong now.
I just told you how old I was when I'm having done next week. So trust me, I'm older than you. And in addition to making these great businesses, you make great t-shirts because they're very comfortable. Because my husband has your Left Main t-shirt that he got in Jamaica. He sleeps in that thing. He loves it.
Oh, that makes me happy. I'm all about coziness.
It is a very cozy t-shirt. Yes. So, and he's only promoting it to me. Sorry. He's not out there in daylight promoting it. But anyway, let's talk about this though. Cause you told me that, so Left Main is a CRM. So first of all, just dumb it down for the listeners. What does a CRM actually do?
Yeah. So CRM stands for Customer or Client Relationship Manager. So essentially what it does is it becomes your hub, your center point of managing all the moving pieces in your business. So for us, that's generally leads, right? Homeowners that have opted in to an offer on their property. It can be prospects also, but almost universally it starts with leads, depending on our businesses. And then it manages that lead process, like the following up, the trying to reach, the documentation, the screening, the script. All the activity associated with just trying to actually talk to a human being who clicked a form that they wanted to talk to somebody, right? And then it'll also manage the sales process. So, yep, we got a qualified lead. Now it's a potential sale, managing appointment setting, appointment reminders, emailing back and forth with the homeowner, drip sequence campaigning, offer calculation and rehab calculation, all the notes associated with that. And then transaction management. Okay, now you got the contract signed, all the things that need to happen next, right? All the to-do lists, all the files and the contracts, the buyer relationship associated to that transaction if you're wholesaling, expenses related to that transaction from anywhere between, like paying off a lien or getting a notary to sign documents to like the full rehab of this property and how do we organize that? And then there's a lot more with marketing management, campaign management, contact management, like with buyers, agents, et cetera. So essentially what it becomes is, and one of the reasons why it's called Left Main is because it's your lifeline. It's the very center of the wheel that helps keep all of your business in a system and in a process that's repeatable and predictable. Trying to like quiet the chaos, have procedures that we go through, have checklists so we don't forget, and have everything organized in one place so you can find it.
So your logo for Left Main is a door and it has 18. What's the significance of the 18?
18 is special. 18 is the year that Better Path Homes merged. So it was Better's Homes of the Carolinas. We merged with New Path Properties, which is Jeff Johnson, his friend of ours and partner now in Charlotte. We merged our two companies to become Better Path. And that was the first year. I also met Gary Harper and Susan Harper that year. And they kind of helped facilitate this merger. And it was life-changing because I felt that for the very first time, I had a vision of what we were going to do with our company and a path to execute. I thought I was a decent operator before that. We had been operating for 4 years prior, but that was very eye-opening. And it just really changed the trajectory of my entire business life and personal life, of course, too. So that's why 18 is special, 2018.
Very nice. I was curious because I kept seeing it. First of all, it's sleeping next to me, so I see the door with 18. But
gateway.
So there are dozens of CRMs out there. What you said about yours that made me go, whoa, what? You take care of all the transaction coordination up until okay. Does anybody else even do that?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. My jaw kind of dropped when you started saying that. I was like, what? I did not realize that aspect of it. But to get up to the leads, to get something under contract, how are you getting those leads? And I know you just added direct mail as a facet to this. So, and direct mail is my all-time favorite. But what were you using before direct mail?
The direct mail is a huge lead source, especially niche lists. That's kind of my personal favorite for Better Path, just being really, really targeted. We also use direct mail too for follow-up, by the way. Like if we've had an appointment with somebody, we send them a letter.
Nice.
Or if they're difficult to contact, even if they've come from your website or something, we send them a letter too. It goes a really long way. But we do a lot of online marketing. So Facebook, Google, SEO stuff, a lot of branded little mini events locally too. just trying to reach different communities like the flea market. You'd be shocked. That's a really great place to advertise and pick up some leads. What else? We do cold calling. We just recently started cold texting, which is kind of funny. Cold texting has been around for a really long time. But we've been kind of cautiously watching because texting, as you know, has gone through a lot with like the A2P stuff or whatever. But yeah, cold calling is a huge one too for us. We'll see how texting goes. But we try to do at least our what I've learned over the years is the kind of the key is to have 3 different lead sources or more running efficiently. And then it just kind of depends on which month is the lead source that's winning, you know?
So I'm very picky about the mail that I send. I don't do any cold calling, anything like that. I like the leads coming in. So my area of focus is direct mail. So tell me about this direct mail aspect now that you've added, because that's going to be tough.
This was an 18-month build. It's like 2 babies grown and birthed. It was a very long time. So what this does essentially is allow you to organize all of your mailing lists. I'll back up for just a quick second and say one of my biggest frustrations about our industry is that we are so segmented. We have so many different pieces that live in lots of different places, like, you know, from phone systems to project management to mailing lists. Like I can't tell you, I had at one point like hundreds of different spreadsheets all over the place. Google Drive, my local device in various stages of being scraped and stacked, and it's a freaking mess. So the idea with Left Main in general is like, let's just reduce chaos and bring it all in one place. And that way we can actually see stuff and not lose stuff. So it's kind of the same concept with direct mail. Let's start by getting all of your prospect lists in one place, which would, in the way we have it set up with campaigning, this will auto stack them so you can see people in different campaigns. And then I want to be able to manage how many pieces are being sent out and then like very explicitly track them. So one of the pain points that we had before with mail was in order to get, you know, good pricing on postage and pieces, you just had to buy giant amounts. So you'd have these big expense kind of like peaks throughout the year where you spent 10K on pieces and then like you drip mail them over the course, you know, of time. And then how do we take people off that list? How do I add more people to this list? How many remaining pieces do I have left on this pack that I bought? So what we've done here now is gotten this, just essentially you just get bulk rate. Like it's just bulk price, even though there's no minimum. So for example, if you want to mail your entire list of 10,000 people, you can mail 50 a week if you want until the whole thing runs out. And the whole campaign management is done inside Left Main. So you can say, I want these 10,000 people to be mailed every Friday, 50 pieces for a week until it runs out, and it just runs. You don't have to manage it any more than that. And then you can also click and just send one mail piece, just a random one to a lead that you maybe had a good conversation with, and control the entire process. You can pick different postcard templates, different letter templates, handwritten templates, not ballpoint handwritten, but like handwritten font,
right?
And customize everything from the different fonts to the layout to the text to the color, all in one place. So like you literally click and get previews in 15 seconds. Like I wanted to make it as simple and easy as humanly possible, and make it all what I call like API-ified, where computers just talk to each other and we stop trying to like fuddle in the middle. So
I love that. What is there a difference in what the postcard costs if you send out one or if you send out 10,000?
Nope.
And how much to send out just one postcard?
I think it's the postage just went up. So I believe now it's 55 cents for a sent postcard all in.
Printed, everything, etc. Okay, very nice. And then
that's a stamp, live stamp.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
That's with like the live stamp.
Oh, nice. Oh, I like that. So one of my pain points is if I set up a mailer, for example, and it's going out, it's going to have 5 hits. And someone calls me after the second hit and stop sending me postcards. Are you able to stop that and then remove them from it?
Just click not qualified, or like do not mail, and then bye-bye. Yeah.
Because literally I have to go through the one that I'm using right now, which is free through my coaching program. So just why I'm using that one. But I have to physically remove them every single time. It's such a pain in my rear end. So good to know that yours does that. And what about designing postcards? What if I wanted to design one? Could I upload it to your program?
Yep. Well, so yes, you can. If you have a very specific one with like how you have lines on your postcard or like logos or pictures, then you have to send us a quick email. Generally, it's a 1 week turnaround time for that. Or you could use our builder when you do it, and the builder has like it's a blank slate, except for like I want a right hand corner picture of me and the left hand corner picture of this. You can't quite canvas it completely, but the layout is there. So if you want, I want this text, I want this color, I want this font. I want this logo, I want this, or I want this picture based on like the template, then you can do it. It's almost complete. It's essentially 100% customizable, opposed from like those, like you can't just like add a border, you know what I'm saying? But if you want to have a piece that has a certain border, then you just have to wait a week and we'll turn it around and upload it.
And can you change the verbiage?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Cause like the ones that come on the program that I use, it says like urgent message, call us today. And if I got that, I'd be throwing that in the garbage immediately. So I'm a little bit more laid back on mine. I don't say call today for your all cash offer. I say, call us today. Once we complete a walkthrough, we can present an offer within 24 hours. And that kind of gets rid of some of those jerks that say, how much you give me for my house? So
right, exactly.
I love that the user gets to change and be able to make it their own. So I love that. That's very good. So
all kinds of different templates. So like one will have a Google image of your property. One won't have a Google image, just your text. And some will be a little bit more branded, then others will be a little more like no logo on it. So you can kind of choose what you prefer.
So let's go back to that for a second, because a good friend of mine, he no longer works for them, but excuse me, it was a Deal Machine. So I'm sure you're familiar with Deal Machine. And I remember using that app, and I felt like a stalker because I was going around taking pictures of houses to put onto the postcards. And I felt like people were like, get off my lawn, so, so I love that you can pull the Google image. Now, say if you're sending out 100 postcards, is it 100 different images if you choose to, you're nodding yes. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm like watching this. I'm getting so excited. She's not even answering. She's nodding, and I'm like, yes. Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah, it's a big problem for our industry, and the big picture here is we're behind. Like our tech in real estate is kind of sad. I mean, look what Zillow did. Look how disruptive that was, right? And it's actually quite basic, tech, and we're all just so deprived. So my big mission here is to make things easier, to solve one problem at a time.
Well, I think that's great, because the first first property that we ever had under contract, and we ended up wholetailing it. It was in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. I don't know if you know that area, but it was further out. And so, but I received a postcard in the mail with a picture of the property on it. I was like, oh, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. So, and I'm still friends with that wholesaler to this day. But anyway, I could geek out over this. I love that you have direct mail in there. I want to kind of change topics here and talk about working with your spouse. So
sure.
I work with my husband as well. I actually have a presentation called I Slept with My Business Partner. 5 factors to follow when running a business with your spouse. So again, another topic I love to geek out on. So what are some systems that you all have in place to help you achieve success throughout your partnership here? Oh
goodness. We struggled quite a bit with this. It started off very wonderful because we're a good team, like in general, I really, really like him. And, it's funny. Sometimes I forget. We'll go out to dinner. We'll go out to dinner and it'll just be us because you get away from the crazy. And I'm like, I like you. Like, I know you're my husband, but like, I really like you. You're fun to talk to and be with. So in the beginning, it was very kind of rosy colored. And then as pressure mounts, it gets a little bit more challenging to work together in an efficient way while still maintaining like the health of your marriage. So we worked together as CEO, COO. He was CEO. I was COO for about 6 years. And what we really had to do was create extremely strict boundaries, because in the beginning, everything's just kind of a mess. So like you're all just doing everything. Who has the kids? Who doesn't have the kids? Who's going to run out to the thing? Who's going to stay home? Like it was very much one person's command center, the other person's backup, and then the roles are essentially shared. So that worked for a little bit, but it was too much chaos and I didn't know what was done and what wasn't. So we started kind of segmenting roles. And my role typically was like operations. I think I'm just kind of more operations minded in general.
Right.
So I started taking things like, I'm going to do transaction coordination. I'm going to do like lead management, right? And he's going to do sales and vision stuff or whatever, or even project management stuff. He did more of that in the beginning. And then as we grew, we were able to hire out those roles and then kind of both assume more leadership roles with people. And then that was challenging because we were like a two-headed monster. People just didn't know who to go to. And, they kind of just like, I think just like who to ask to like get the answer you want, so that became challenging. Then we had to be very specific about who is like, what's the line of command here, like who talks to who and who's going to make decisions and how do we get along if we disagree in front of a group of people? Because as you know, you spit the truth with your spouse, right? Like you'll tell them like, no, that's stupid. I don't want to do that. And you can't say that in front of a group of people because then like they're like, wait a minute, are mom and dad fighting? What is it?
Exactly.
So that became challenging too. And we had to be really careful about how we responded to each other in front of people and like have our own conversations about stuff or arguments and, kind of the background and have a united front. And then, honestly, we got to a point about 6 years in where I was just kind of tired and I'm feeling a little burnt out that I couldn't really escape business. My husband has a lot of great ideas and amazing vision, and he's very, very intelligent. And I think his ideas are fantastic. He can't help but tell me his ideas. And then when he tells me these things, I can't help but like think 3, 4, 5 steps into implementation. So we got to this like point where I'm like, you have to stop. Like, I can't take it anymore. I'm hiding from you. I'm like, I'm in the bathroom. You can't come in. I'm just sitting here on my phone. And or be like, I'm just going to take like an hour shower because he can't talk to me in here. So I got to this point where we almost started like resenting each other, where he was like, she isn't listening to me. And I was like, I cannot take another task from you. I just can't right now. So we kind of openly discussed what the end game was here. And we decided that ideally we're not working a CEO, COO relationship at work because it's really kind of creating boundary problems at home. Like I can't, I was no longer like his wife. I was his business partner all the time. And that works for a long time, but it comes to a point where like, okay, what's the game? What's the plan here? So we decided that I was going to exit Better Path Homes and kind of go into a ownership role only, like board of directors role. And we would hire someone to take my place as a COO.
Ooh, I love that.
So we did that in 2020, January 2020. We were like, this is going great. This will be the best year ever.
Oh my goodness.
But it did fine. And so we promoted from within, and his name is Matt. He's still the COO. And it's so much healthier. It's so much healthier for us to do it this way because now we can just consult each other and I don't feel so tied to the result. I can be tied to the discussion. And then I know that he's going to take it to the end with Matt or whatnot. And then same thing with him, like, Left Main launched in January 2022. That's when we got the partnership with Salesforce kind of ideally. I mean, I still can't believe how that happened and lined up, but he kind of consults too with Left Main. He understands our business avatar. Obviously, he's a user of Left Main. I built it for Better Path. And it's nice. It's nice to be able to like dump like, blah, this is what I'm worried about. This is what I'm stressed about. Oh my God. And then not be the one to have to pick up the pieces. So that's kind of what ended up working for us. And I've seen other couples go through it. And I think having an end game of like when the boundary is going to be drawn is helpful.
So one thing that we do that is extremely helpful, we can go back into this, but we have a weekly meeting. Now, yes. Granted, we see each other 24/7, it feels like, because we both work out of the house. But we have a spreadsheet that we do, we transfer, and we do a new one each week. And, this is what we have to get done this week. But even though, because you just kind of assume, you get into this role where it's like you can kind of read each other's brains. But then there are times where you're like, wait, no, I totally missed. And so having those weekly meetings. But I like what you're talking about, the determining roles, because what we did, we broke out our business. I think it was like 6 parts. And then each one, say marketing is one. Who's going to do what? Now, I married an accountant because that is my least favorite aspect of business. I was a teacher at the time, but still, I was like, ugh, thank goodness. And I am the mouth. So you were talking about your husband being more on the sales side and Vance, my husband, does everything paperwork and something that requires tests. So if he real estate license came around, I'm like, you're doing it. I can't take another test. So he did that. But when we determined roles, so back then I was running the business full time and he was still doing his W9, W2, W9.
W2.
W2, thank you. And so, but then when I started coaching, he started taking over things that were my roles. And so I had to let go of some of those things. And, even throughout the years, do you ever go back and you hired someone to replace you. So I love that aspect, but, just staying in your own lane, I think is so important. And just determining who's going to pick up the mail from the mailbox or, post office, who's going to be doing this, who's in charge of doing deposits, etc. And then if it's not working, go back and revisit it. I think it's such an important aspect of a, team to work together. I'm not to the point where you are by hiring someone to replace you. So I just, I'm in awe, and congrats on joining Salesforce. I didn't realize that just happened in 2022.
2020.
Oh, okay. I thought you said 2022. That's maybe good.
Sorry. It happened in 2020 also, at the same time that I left Better Path as a COO, which was not expected. I did not anticipate that.
All right. So I love everything that we have been talking about so far. A lot of my listeners are beginners, just starting. So if they were to get involved with Left Main, how would that help their business?
Well, to be a good fit for Left Main and for us to be a good fit for each other, you definitely have to have already been marketing or starting, have marketing channels coming in or a plan for marketing, because that's really when lead management becomes extremely important. If you've invested money in paying for leads or paying for direct mail, you can't afford to drop those, right? Like you've got to have a system that can help you stay organized and then also automate. Right. And when you're new, automation is huge because you're wearing so many hats. You know what I mean? Like you can't be answering the phone live or responding quickly when you're out at a property walking it. So it's really helpful to have like a drip sequence that just hits them really quick. And at least it just touches them and you can get to it as soon as you possibly can, but you don't have that anxiety of like, no one said anything. So, the automation is very, very helpful. But I think also the important thing is to distinguish what you want to do from this business. Mm-hmm. This system is built to help you grow, meaning it's built to have different swim lanes for people to assume at some point, and have really clear handoff points. So the idea is generally, if you're marketing, that's when you're kind of the first fit. And the second one, which is secondary, you don't have to have this right out of the gate, but there has to be in general a desire to have other people involved in your business besides just you. That can be some VAs, that can be your spouse, it can be people you hire locally, it can be whatever. But the idea with this is to kind of start forcing business instead of chaos or hobby. It's a very clear change. And that can be a little bit jarring for people because it kind of forces you to have a business process and a system, and it forces you to ask these questions like, what happens next? What do you want to happen next? Right. And then, which I love, and I love seeing that light bulb go off because that's what you should be thinking about as a business owner, right? Like, what should happen next? What do I want to happen? What's the ideal situation? Like, you're this forward thinking, forward planning instead of like the chaos of like, shoot, I never called that title company, So how do you want your business to run? And we of course have a system that's built for that. And then you can of course edit that. How do you want your business to kind of, what's your unique that you want to be a part of this? So with those things considered, that's who this is the right fit for. You don't have to be huge. You don't have to be, small. Just those two concepts, people working for you and money spent on marketing. And
the biggest challenge in real estate can be just finding the deal. I have students who keep pouring more and more money into education, but they're not taking that first step. So I love that. I love that you have the checks and balances. So we got it under contract. Now what? And you already have those steps in place. That is amazing. What a great product. And how do people find it and start using it in their business?
Yeah. So you can go to our website, leftmainrei.co or .com. Both will work. There's a pre-recorded demo there if you just kind of want to see what it's about. And I think it's a 20-minute video you can watch. Or you can book a demo call. We'll walk you through it and ask and answer specific questions for you and your business. That's probably the best way to take a peek.
Well, listeners, you've got to check it out because there's nothing like it out there that's going to take you from finding a property all the way to closing on the property. Do you have contractors that will go out and flip the property for you? I'm just kidding.
Well, not as part of the system. I do. I don't go to houses. I couldn't even tell you where the houses are that I own anymore.
Oh my goodness. All right. So you heard me do a badassery bestowment. So do you have a little piece of nugget that you can share with the listeners?
Oh gosh. Okay. So I have a little slogan that helps me on really difficult days. That's kind of where it all started. But my little personal slogan is, you can eat problems for breakfast. And
excellent.
I have to remind myself of this sometimes because it's just kind of one of those things that you can do it and you can do it and you've done it and you will do it again. I like to start my day by remembering that I can wake up and I can just take that problem one step at a time. And I'm so good at solving problems, I will eat them for breakfast. Right. And what I do, of course, is like I pump myself up with this, but it also normalizes the fact that there are going to be problems. Problems are not bad. An obstacle isn't bad. It's a direction. It's a sign, right? Like that something is working or that something needs to be changed. Something's not working or something needs to be changed. And that should never, ever stop you. There is always a way through. There is always a solution. It may not be an instant solution, but there's always something that you can do to influence, at the very least, your problem, if not solve it. So I need to tell myself that sometimes, because sometimes you just feel drowned, completely drowned by problems, and you get to feel down on yourself. Like, can I actually? What am I doing here, right? And I want everyone to be able to have that core value, like you can eat that problem for breakfast. You can wake up, piss excellence. For breakfast.
I love it. And because there's never any problems in real estate ever. This is just smooth sailing, right?
Yep. Right. Of course. Yeah. No bumps.
Ever. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this has been amazing information. And I had said earlier about how I love how you present things because you are an educator at heart. And I love that. And I've been spying on your website and stuff, and you have all these videos for people to watch, webinars to sign up. So it's not like, here's our CRM and go. It's just, you are handheld through it because they can be confusing. I love that you're adding the whole direct mail aspect to it. I feel like direct mail is super hot right now, just because where the market is, that people are like, oh, I hear, and interest rates are going up and, houses are sitting longer. So hitting them by getting leads off market at this point is just, I think, such a great way to go. So thank you for sharing all that. And the second half of the podcast is what makes Stephaine Betters a badass. And I use the acronym BADASS, and the first letter is B for book. What's a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
Gosh, my favorite one and biggest impact has been Jim Collins' Good to Great.
Oh, I have not read that one. I'm writing it down right now.
It's really about kind of business, what makes good businesses good and what makes businesses great. And there's so many core nuggets in there, but one of the ones that really helped me, especially at that moment. I think I've read it a couple of times, and each time I get a different thing for my scenario that I'm in. But one of the reasons why it was such a big eye opener for me the first time I read it was about confronting brutal facts. Like, don't avoid the brutal fact. What is the fact? And then you maintain hope when you have this called the Stockholm syndrome. And how do you maintain hope and move forward when you get hit with a brutal fact? And what a big distinguisher from good companies and great companies was companies who took it, owned it, and made a big decision about how to move forward to greatness. And a lot of the times that was dropping preconceived notions or what worked in the past, and continued to innovate and listen to the market and made changes accordingly. And that was just that was so impactful for me, because I'm one who's very tactical and problem oriented. And that kind of normalized it for me. Like, this problem is telling me something and I need to listen and innovate and adapt. And I felt like that was kind of a cool message. There's a lot of other ones there, like the hedgehog. Oh my God, there's so many nuggets in there. Read it. It's great.
I'm going to have to check it out because Jim Collins, I wrote it down. I like a Tom Collins. That's a drink. Anyway.
I'll have one too.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. By the way, we get to hang out. Let's just do a quick shout out to our friend Noah Harris, who is putting together an event. It is in South Carolina in Columbia. It is the Re-Up event. And Stephanie is you're speaking on a panel. I'm speaking on stage here. It's going to be an amazing event. It is March 11th and 12th. Am I correct in saying that? Okay.
Yes, I believe so. Yep.
So go check out reupmeetup.com. So REUP meetup.com. And it's a very affordable event too. So there's not a ton of big networking events and there's amazing people coming from all over. And Stephanie, I can't wait to see you back on stage because you're so good at it. So yes. All right. The first A in badass is advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Keep everything on the table and open for discussion at all times. I got that piece of advice during premarital counseling.
Oh.
And I find that to be extremely valuable for our marriage and also for our business, being very open to talking about everything and keeping open lines of communication. Nothing is off limits to talk about in our marriage. For example, I can tell him, hey, this really hurt my feelings and I don't have any secrets. And all my feelings are on the table. So we try to squash resentment. And I think that's also translated nicely into business because we have an open door policy. I want to hear ideas. I don't want you to think that I don't want to hear things. I'm willing to discuss things deeper. I think openness in that communication is been extremely beneficial.
I think that's excellent advice. All right. The D in badass is drive. What drives you to be successful?
Impact. I think that goes back, to medicine too. I want to make a positive impact in any way that I can and just truly help people.
How did you get involved with real estate? Did you do an education program or, I know you had flipped a house that you lived in and literally that's it.
We bought a book at Lowe's that said home improvement.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We just started. Yeah.
That is so impressive. And just tell me really quick about so how many doors do you have right now?
Well, we just sold a big multifamily property. So we're I've got to retally it after that sale, but about 1,000 or so.
Just 1,000 or so. I have a goal of having 101 doors by the end of this year.
Ooh,
I'm manifesting that goal out there. I have 80 more to go. And then you have so you combine two of your business or you have three multi-million-dollar businesses?
I have three.
Okay.
I didn't talk to you about my consulting company for Salesforce, but so social media got combined. Social media REI is a 6-figure business. Left Main, Better Path Homes, and Main Dev are all 7-figure businesses.
Oh, wow. Goodness. Good for you. All right. The second A in badass is aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what is a goal you are currently working on? I was debating whether or not I should say it because I'm kind of scared to jinx it. I just manifested my goal. I'm getting 101 doors by the end of the year. Go for it.
All right, here we go. My big, hairy, audacious goal is to have Left Main become the real estate cloud for Salesforce. It is within reach and the path is clear. I have a couple stepping stones. It's going to happen. And
Salesforce is such a great platform. Are they great to work with or
They are amazing to work with.
Nice.
I have an incredible partnership with them. The team that we work with and we kind of the way we work currently in our current situation as a partner, we have a couple different teams that we collectively work with. We aren't Salesforce. We aren't owned by Salesforce. We're completely independently owned by me, but the partnership has been fantastic. And they've really helped us grow and kind of put their arms around us. And because of Left Main's success, it's highlighted this segment that's been completely underserved, which, is kind of like my mission, right? Why is this industry so underserved with technology? Where are we? So we've gotten their attention and we've had a lot of resources now start to be dedicated to us to grow. So Salesforce has all these different clouds like Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud. They have a financial cloud, an automotive cloud. And it's kind of it's big, broad categories, but then they also have, large segments like manufacturing, et cetera, on there. And we have the opportunity potentially to be the real estate cloud. means we can, provide services to an even broader number of people. So it's very exciting. That's my big aspiration is to accomplish that. So,
well, the sky is the limit for you. I'm very, very impressed. And we use Salesforce with, our coaching with Homeschooled by Tark. That's what we use.
Yeah.
But even when I worked for Aetna, after I was a teacher for 16 years, I went to an equally abusive industry with health insurance, and because I love abuse. And so we use Salesforce then. So, good for you. That's amazing. All right. The first S in badass is for systems. What systems do you have in place? I'm sure you have a million that help you achieve success.
So, business-wise, Left Main is our big one. That's what helped us grow Better Path Homes, is having a really good CRM, right? So that's probably my favorite system. And then on the personal side, systems, it's very simple. I have 3 big things that I need to do every day. These are my 3 non-negotiables. There's only allowed to be 3, never more.
Right.
I guess there's been a couple times where there's been like 1 or 2, but I hit those goals every single day, no matter what. Sometimes that's making a phone call. Sometimes that's taking a shower. Like, it's crazy. Sometimes I'm not in a great personal place. So like, has it been a day or 2 since I've showered? I don't know. Right. Or going for a walk, right? Like, it can be a business goal or it can be a personal goal, but I hit those every single day, no matter what. And that consistency, that little system has been monumental. I've been able to accomplish a lot with just 3 really big things a day.
Yeah. So the non-negotiables can change every day.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. It's not the same goal. Every day before I start my day, I determine what are the 3 most important things that I need to do today. Awesome. By the way, sometimes it's my kids.
Oh,
they are here too.
those little people. Living and eating out of your kitchen. All right. Well, this is great. To wrap this up, the final S in badass is success. What does success mean to Stephaine Betters? And you go by Steph sometimes too. I figured now that we're best friends, can I call you Steph?
You can absolutely call me Steph.
Yes. So what does success mean to Steph Betters?
I have a kind of an existential answer and then like a simpler answer, but success to me means actually making a difference. My first exposure to that, like, what does that mean to make a difference? Sometimes it's not named. Sometimes you don't know that it's you, or people don't know that it was you that made a difference. The first time I ever felt so successful that I just felt like blissful was when I started working in surgery, and I overheard a family member say, "Thank God we got here in time." And, that to me was like, I was part of that reason why someone like thanked God, like, thank God you were here. Thank God I said something, that kind of impact where somebody, it's not necessarily you, right? Like, no one's going to say like Stephaine Betters saved my life. Like, there's probably 2 times that you could say that. That's, first of all, plenty for me, but that I'm just looking to make an impact enough that it makes somebody just grateful for something bigger, like that makes them thank a higher power or just feel connected and like felt like things like lined up for them personally, like that you were part of that process that lined up the universe for them. You know what I mean? That is when I feel successful. That's like my true bliss. That's all I need.
Well, I know you are making a difference in so many people's lives. And so I truly appreciate you and thank you for coming on the show. It has been such a pleasure getting some one-on-one time with you. You are fun to stalk on social media. So how do people find you? Speaking of social media, what's the best way for people to find you?
I'm on Facebook, Stephaine Betters. My Instagram is @StephBetters. And you can email me, Stephaine@leftmainrei.com.
There you go. Wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. This has been so fun. We're best friends now.
We're besties. Yay. So that is all. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to REIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of REIN by registering on REINmastermind.com.